Hi guys, welcome back. This is Miss Patterson, and I am really missing y'all today, but I will be back really soon. Today for reading, we are gonna read one of my all-time favorite books. I love this book more than almost any other book I've ever read. It is called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Now, you may have read this before, maybe not. It's very similar to the original Three Little Pigs, just a little different. So I'm going to tell you this story and then we're going to learn a really awesome lesson. All right. The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Woo. Okay. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least I think they do, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody's ever heard my side. I'm Wolf Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies, sheep, and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig. He wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in their right mind builds a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, "Little pig? Little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch and I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of the straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying around in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as being a big cheeseburger just laying there. I was feeling a little better, but I didn't have that cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not by much. He built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig! Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. I promise. Now, food will spoil if you just leave it out there in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling better. I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, though, so I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig? Mr. Pig, are you in?" And you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake When I felt my cold coming on, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little piggy yelled, "And your granny can sit on a pin." Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when someone talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest is, as they call it, history. The news reporters found out that I had the two other pigs for dinner. They figured a sick guy was gonna borrow a cup of sugar. Didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all this huffing and puffing and blowing your house down stuff. And they made me feel like a big bad wolf. That's it. That's a real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. The end. All right, guys. That is one of my all time favorite stories. I absolutely love it. So, in this story, we are going to talk about how the characters acted just like people. So, normal pigs are not doing any of those things, nor are wolves. Pigs are normally laying in the pig pen, they're rolling around in mud, they're eating whatever pigs eat. And then wolves, you normally find them just in the forest, running around, catching other animals, not doing anything like that. So in this story, we can see how the different characters acted just like people did. So you might have noticed that our wolf here, he wore glasses just like Miss Patterson does. Oop, there we go. And he's eating this big cheeseburger. I have never seen a wolf go out and get a cheeseburger. So then a little further down, we have Mr. Wolf here. He is cooking up a storm. I have never seen a wolf cook ever in my life or wear a suit. He's wearing this nice suit here. I've never seen a wolf wear a suit. And then he's just walking along, going to his neighbor's house. Well, that's not something animals normally do. That's normally something we see people do. Now, he does have a cold, and that is something that could happen. Animals can catch colds. But here we see Mr. Piggy, and he is shaving his little chin whiskers. That might be something you see your dad or your grandpa or your uncle doing. All right. And so that is how that little piggy was acting, just like a person. He was just cutting the hairs on his chinny chin. And then we see these two people talking. This pig here, he lives in a house, just like people live in houses. And we see the wolf asking his neighbor for something. Well, I've ran out of things before and asked my neighbor for things. So they're acting just like people there too. And here we see the wolf is being bad and crazy, and the police came. They were police officer pigs. And then we see the little reporter mic, and that's from the news station, just like we would see in a human world when bad things happen, the reporter comes and you see it on the news. Maybe you even see it in a newspaper. This is another way the animals were acting like people, because they wrote a whole newspaper here and they locked him up. He was a bad guy. They threw him in jail. That happens in our world too. So today, when you're reading your books or looking at things, you can relate back to the story of the three little pigs. All right, this fable, and you can look and see how maybe the animals in your story are also acting like people. Well, guys, enjoy reading and be good for Miss Ellis, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now, guys.